What's up, y'all? I'm back for another video. Sorry I didn't review The Nun last night. I tweeted it like yesterday. I was pretty much at work literally all day, and I didn't get home until like 6:30 almost. And I just was not, I'll be honest. I was just not in the mood to do a video. So I figured I'll watch The Nun 2 yesterday. I'll just review it tonight. Nefarious, I'm going to save for Tuesday. I'm going to save it for Tuesday just so I can at least I would say Monday, but I just because I didn't do a list one, like I figured let's just get two of them at least in a row. So we're gonna do Nefarious on Tuesday, and I'll do X-Men First Class next Friday. Kind of like I guess kind of going back to what I was doing before, back to the Friday schedule. We'll see. It might switch, but The Nun 2. This is gonna be a rant. This movie, I'm gonna be honest, it's even worse. I was talking to my friend Mara about this. It's even worse. Nothing happens. Both of these movies, nothing has fucking happened. We barely. I feel like I barely know even what The Nun is, and from my what Mara was telling me is the movie hints that she was a fallen angel, but the movie does a terrible job at conveying that. Granted, I'll be fair. I was checked out by this point. I was just like, this is the same problem with the first one, but even worse. Nothing was happening. It was also the biggest problem I have with both of them is the scares. The scares feel like generic horror scares. When the Conjuring scares, at least in those first two, even in three, they at least were unique and didn't just feel like generic horror scares. That's what a lot of these in this one, even the opening scene in this one and the first one, it's both of that. It's just generic. Lady gets possessed. You see a face in the dark, creepy noise. It's very generic. It's nothing like unique with the scares, you know. And I'm sorry, the actress who plays Sister Irene, I think I've seen her in other movies. She's fine. She sucks at this. I feel like she was boring. All the characters are boring. Maurice, who I thought was probably the only okay character besides the priest character. I think Father Burke was his name. I think besides those two, Maurice sucks in this one. He's just there to get possessed in the end, and it's just generic scares. So it's 1956, opening scene. Lady gets murdered, and Sister Irene now works at the school, and this is where we meet these characters, Sophie and her. One of the actresses I recognize from the Chronicle, and I think she's in all three. I've only seen really the first one. I think I may have seen part of the second one, if I remember. I think I've seen part of it, and I didn't see the third one. But she was in it, and I thought she was okay. But a lot of the actors and actresses don't really have anything to work with. The story's just not compelling enough, and we get a little bit more about Valak and how he died and how she was burned and her eyes were burned out, and that's a lot of the kills in the movie are pretty much that, and it's not impressive. Father Maurice gets possessed in the end again, and they have to basically do some chant that's similar. That's kind of starts like the blood of Christ. I'll admit I'm telling it kind of badly because I'll flat out admit it, guys. I was checked out like 30, 40 minutes in, so I was just kind of just sitting there at that point where I'm not like paying attention to the dial. I'm just kind of, can we just. My problem is, okay, fine. You want to go with the nun as this fallen angel. Okay. Why not tell that story? You two movies, and we don't really fucking know about her. And that one, I had to be told. The movie didn't convey that. I didn't even catch on to that. It's paced terribly. I was hoping for some lore. If you're gonna do spin-offs, you add to the lore of whatever thing you're spinning off of. And they did it. None of these so far, like these Conjuring spin-offs. I'm hearing Annabelle's terrible. I heard the second one's okay, but it's like really getting to the point. Maybe you just should watch the first one. I mean, not the first one, just the Conjuring trilogy, and then that's it. There's nothing worth watching with the Nun movies. The scares aren't good. I guess if you're like a horror normie, they might be fine, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like if you're really into horror, the Nun movies just suck. They're not. There's no lore to the story. You don't really know shit about the Nun. I mean, we're what, 3 movies in, 2 movies in, and we really don't know shit about her. I feel like I'm in the same point I was after The Conjuring 2, but at least in The Conjuring 2, she was fucking scary. You don't really you see her, I guess, a little bit more in this one in some of the scenes because one of the sisters ends up getting killed. I'm trying to tell the story at least from what I remember. Because I'll be honest, I'm gonna say it again, guys. I was very checked out, and I try to pay it even when it's a bad movie. But when I'm there, does get with somewhere like these. Just there's nothing to to like clench my teeth into that like gets my interest because, like I said, none of the characters matter. Father Maurice in this movie is just basically there to get possessed again. That's it. Sister Irene is just there to be your generic protagonist, and then the rest of the characters are just kind of there. And then, like I said, the scares are not there. There's no lore that adds anything to this world. It doesn't. It's like I feel like they got. I don't know if it's like they got. Granted, this can't technically not this one, but the first Nun was before Conjuring 3. I wonder if they just got overly cocky and just decide we're gonna because people like The Conjuring, what we did with the Nun with that, we're just gonna take the name and not actually do anything with it. Because that's what it feels like to me in this. It's they didn't take the concept and you just wasted it because there is a concept there. I actually really like the Nun's entrance in Conjuring 2, and then it's like you don't do anything with it. You just introduce her, but then don't give her any background. You then bring up this other demon. I guess I'm assuming Valak is her. Maybe that's I'm not putting two and two together that Valak is supposed to be her, but it's like you didn't convey that well, and you just I'm gonna be honest, guys, you just don't care. Like you just kind of want the movie to end. Um, Basically ends they defeat Valak or the Nun again. Maurice gets taken over, but they manage to get the demon out of him. But then, and then it ends with a way where it tries to make because Sister Irene looks kind of suspicious of him because he goes with the other girls into a building and basically I guess the implication is Sophie and Kate. I think that's the other characters' names. The names just came to me. Um, and I guess it's supposed to be an implication is he still possessed, but you don't give a fuck, man. I hope they don't do a Nun 3. Just stop with these movies. Let the Conjuring trilogy be its own thing. We'll see about Annabelle. I will say this. If Annabelle, one thing I maybe hope with it, just be better than the Nun. At least do something. Even if it isn't great, just do something. Because holy fuck. Nothing has happened in 2 fucking movies. Ugh. So, this one, I think I gave the first one like a 4. This is like a 3. Nothing happens. I guess the only positive I really have is it's shot well, but it's 2023 or even in like the 2010s. It is not hard to make a movie look good in this kind of time. So it's just that doesn't magically mean everything. Like just because your movie looks good, like, it's almost like to a point where that can't even be necessarily a positive because it's like it's not hard to make a movie look. Even like indie films look really good in terms of that these days. So yeah, not a good film. I do not recommend either of the Nun movies. Just watch the. At least as of now, I'll see about Annabelle. My opinion could change. Who knows? Annabelle, I might really fucking like for somehow, but I do think you're just better off doing the 3 Conjuring movies. You don't really need to touch the spinoffs. We'll see. I'll see. Like I said, my opinion can change. Because granted, I've been told that Annabelle isn't great, but if it is, but I'm also like in a point where people also told me the Nun wasn't great, and then I watched it. It was bad. So I don't know. I'm feeling the same thing here. I've been told that the Annabelle's pretty bad too. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm giving it a chance, but you might just be better off sticking with just the Conjuring trilogy, and then that's it. This one doesn't try to do some half-ass like connection while like throwing the Warrens in the end like the first one did. But yeah, this is an even worse movie. Easily. The story like it's so disappointing because I think there's something there. And obviously I'm not Catholic, but they play definitely really loose a lot of the Catholics like just lore, and I don't obviously don't know like it know it like that, but and then if you wanted to say she was a fallen angel, maybe the movie say it. You didn't convey that at all. I didn't cap when I have to be told that. That's not a good movie. When I have to be told that. So anyway, the Nun movies are absolute shit. So tomorrow I will be doing a fixing on Jeepers Creepers 3. Not 3. The franchise, I meant. Jeepers Creepers the franchise, because I think you can. It's gonna be hard because Jeepers Creepers is just in such a it's dead almost. Like think about it. Jeepers Creepers 3 kind of like started it, but at least I can kind of laugh at that one. But yeah, it's not it did definitely start there, Jeepers Creepers 3, but it's set between 1 and 2. It looks really cheap, the acting's really bad, the creeper isn't scary, and then 4 just doubles down and it's even worse. It's like I feel like it is going to be hard to try because I think Reborn really just kind of that's almost like a nail in the coffin, man. Like they really fucked up with that movie. Like that movie, like even to the point where they didn't even shoot outside. They had to fake like CGI fucking the outside because I guess because COVID, which is bullshit. They CGI'd fucking you're telling me you just couldn't go in some woods? Like depending on where you shot it. If you're like some state that has a lot of woods, why not just shoot in some fucking woods, you idiots? Like my god. It was like so anyway, it's a side point, but it's so distracting how bad the CGI is in Reborn. So like it really is gonna take a lot to fix this franchise, but I think I can. I figured out a way to do that, and then on Sunday, I will be not roasting. I will be, I guess, roasting in a way Miles Morales. I'm going to talk about why I don't like the character, especially with the whole now he's apparently going to take over in the Insomniac universe. So why not talk about it and just why I don't like the character? Not just him, just and it's not okay. I'll even say this: it's not fully him. I don't like some of his writing, but it is more this how much he's just being shoved in every Spider-Man thing now, to where it's like you can't. I'm at a point like I know with any Spider-Man project, oh, it may start off with Peter Parker, but then they're just gonna shove him in there because they have to. And I'll talk about that more on Sunday. But yeah, that's my videos at least through the weekend. So. So one of a nun is killed in like a brutal. I'll admit that scene is. I guess if I had to be objective and give one scene that was kind of okay, was that just because of the visual? But then it's like they kind of just did that same kill over and over again to where it wasn't that cool. It's kind of okay in the beginning when they when they first do it, but it does just become like, oh, let's just do this kill over and over again. And then we see where Father, no, Maurice and Sister Irene are basically up to, and I just can't get into it. And this is where we meet Sophie and Kate, who go to this like I'm assuming it's like a Christian school, um, and obviously weird things start happening, and Valak apparently is back, and I do. That's the other thing. They really don't. I mean, granted, like I said, I was very tuned out, so maybe I wasn't paying attention. But I don't think the movie really tells you he's just back. Like, just he's back, kind of deal. Like, oh, he's here now. So I think that's kind of lame. Like, um, it's a lame way to just bring a killer back. But like I said, it's just too. There's a scene where these girls bully I think Kate's the daughter, and Maurice scares them off. And throughout the film, like I said, he is just there to get possessed. He doesn't actually serve a real purpose other than that. Even in, I think he kind of, and I get it. The end of the first one kind of hints at that, but it's. I also don't think the actor they got for him just didn't do it for me. I don't think he conveyed it. I felt like the scenes were, especially later, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but where he's possessed and I guess they want the demon wants some, um, I guess some relic. And like I said, the lore is just not there because, far as I saw, it was just some relic. They don't really go into it. Yeah, so just want some relic, and going back to Father Maurice when he's possessed, it's so over the top. He feels like he's trying too hard to be like, oh, I'm possessed, and it's like, oh, you know what? Fuck it, today I just watched Nefarious, and Sean Patrick Flannery conveyed being possessed way better. It wasn't so over the top. This dude was like, I'm gonna make my eyes look all weird. I'm gonna act all over the top to make it seem like I'm possessed by a demon. It just didn't do it for me. It was almost comical. It was like, that's what I mean, like with the generic scares. It feels like generic scares. It's like, oh guys, do just have a face show up in the dark. Have some this loud noises, some just basic bitch scares. And honestly can't even call them scares because it's just like, oh, okay. Oh, have this dude act all weird and oh, he's possessed, guys. He's just acting weird. That's not, I feel like being possessed, you want to make it look good because it's like, it's crazy. It can't just be, I'm going to act all weird and make weird faces. That's not being possessed. That's just, it's almost like, I don't know, a simplistic looking way of looking at it almost. Like, oh, to be possessed, you just got to make weird faces and noises. And it's like, no, at least believably conceived. And that's what, like, look at The Exorcist. When Reagan got possessed, it was not some over the top acting. It wasn't some like I'm just gonna make weird noises and weird face. I mean, I'm gonna say it. Comparing to the shitty Exorcist, that was one of the problems I had with that movie. The possession scenes felt like let's just have these girls make weird noises, make weird faces. That's possession. I think it's the same thing here with him. It's like they didn't try. It's like basic bitch idea, I guess, what possession is, and it just doesn't work. The kills aren't convincing, so yeah, more people die throughout the film, and you just don't care anymore. They all get together. Father Maurice gets possessed by Valak. And you see the nun throughout the film, but the nun is almost just there. I feel like it's like they saw what they did with Conjuring 2, where she's just there to be scared. It works in that movie though, but they're like, no, instead of actually trying to build lore around her and that character, and oh, well, she's a fallen angel. The movie did a terrible job of conveying that. Like I didn't get that. Like, I don't know. I just think that's not a good movie when you have to be told. You have to outside source that to tell you, oh, well, this is what happened. And it's just bad. It's a bad fucking movie. This one is it's painfully boring. I was just dead inside. I'm like, can something happen? We're like an hour and something minutes, hour and a half, I think. Or not hour and a half, how long the movie is. But we're like 40 minutes in and nothing's really happened besides some shitty scares that you get throughout the film. But I don't know, man. It's like, if you're going to try to do these possession type films that deal with Catholicism, obviously they're not all going to be like The Exorcist, but use that as a template, If you're going to do a movie like this, have the nun possess people. Not just Maurice either. Have her possess multiple people. That'd be a far more interesting story. The first one, you go into her backstory. Maybe the second movie, she's just kind of wreaking havoc. And it's just about her. You know what? Just go kind of, not hammy, but go like kind of all out with it. She's just possessing people in the second one. The first one's more about how should we go into that story. If you want to go into the whole fallen angel thing. But the movie, you gotta show it, man. Show, don't tell. Not even show, don't tell. Show, and I find out later. What the fuck, man? And so yeah, Father Maurice gets possessed, kind of starts trying to kill the girls, and they all manage to banish the demon. I'm kind of jumping ahead. Just there's really not a lot that happens. Like there's some goat thing later on. I know it's weird. There's like a lot of shit in this movie you're just not interested in. It's not compelling. When I'm just sitting there, so that's why I'm like with movies like it happened. It happened with the first one, kind of, where I might just be telling it badly because I just was not uber paying attention. I can watch other movies, and even like I said, sometimes when I watch movies, I'm also watching like either stream or videos in the background. But if it's a movie I really fucking like, or even just even some other bad movies where I'm not necessarily into it, I'm into it just because I want to rip it apart. I can still tell it really well because I'm mostly paying attention. But when you're a movie like this, when I'm just okay, I'm just checked out. Yeah, I'll be honest at that point, I'm not really trying to pay attention. So I might be missing dialogue and not necessarily missing it, but just not. It just kind of, I hear it, but it just goes out the other ear just because how bad it is. That's how I felt like the first Nun was. It was just, oh, this shit's happening on my screen, but I'm just not into it. God, man, just what a disappointment both of these movies are. So they managed to get Marie's son possessed, but Sister Irene still feels uneasy when he goes into like a room or something with Kaden and Sophie because he thinks she's still possessed. Movie ends. Whatever. Fuck the Nun. The Nun movies. They're both absolute garbage. Why? It's like I almost do feel like it's a cash grab. It's like okay, we're just gonna make the Nun movies, but we're not gonna actually fucking try with them. I wonder if it's also a case of they saw them as spin-offs, so we're just not gonna try it with them. We're gonna mainly focus on the main Conjuring movies. It could be that like they just saw these as just side projects to get some money, but not actually give a fuck about the story. Because yeah, you gotta have like a compelling character. Like at least the first one, you kind of had Father Burke. You don't have a character like that in this one. Maurice, I just don't think does it for me. Especially when the scenes when they're trying to have him be possessed, it comes off very just fake, not phony. And I get he's an actor, but just not. I just can't get into it. Like he overly acts crazy just to come off like, oh, I'm genuinely possessed, but just make like I said, making weird faces isn't just be that's not possession. That's just being you just look like a crackhead at that point. And like I said, one positive, and it's not really a positive. Like I said, there are some nice shots, but the scares don't work. The characters don't work. You can skip both of them, Blake. Just stick with the main Conjuring movies. We'll see about Annabelle. I'm watching that one next Thursday. And like I said, I mean, if it can be better than the Nun movies, maybe. And if they can actually, if those movies can actually add some lore to the world, that'll be a bigger plus. So, but we'll see, man. Tomorrow, like I said, I am reviewing. Not reviewing. I am doing a fixing on the Jeepers Creepers franchise. I'm gonna try anyway. Because yeah, that franchise, like I said, it has just been damaged, and it sucks. It's like the concept's there, this creature that comes, the creeper who comes out for every 23 years, kills for 23 days. Like that's such an interesting concept. And when you first see him in that first movie, and even in the second one, he is fucking scary. That scene in the second movie when he is sniffing the kid's fear on the bus, that scene is great. Or when we first see him in the first one, it's like they go from that to just he's a joke in both 3 and 4. The 3 where you had the fucking hand that's supposed to tell the secrets, which actually didn't tell the secrets, by the way. And then the fourth movie is just, oh man, it's so sad because, like I said, the concept's there. You're not necessarily following like a character. So all you have to do, you're besides the creeper. So it's like okay, every 23 years, so he gets defeated, and then he hides for another 23 years, and then just time jump. new group of survivors he has to kill. Troopers back. It's all you have to do. So theoretically, you almost could do these movies forever, but they didn't. And now, and I understand the movie's directed by a pedophile. Um, so I do understand that, but the movie itself is still amazing. Like those first two movies were great. The Creeper is such like the Creeper looked scary in those first two movies. Even just the design. In like the third movie, his truck was basically a Batmobile. It was so bad. And then fucking Reborn just like hold my beer and basically tanks the franchise. I do think you can bring it back, but I don't think they will though. I think unfortunately, I almost feel like Reborn just it's like Dark Fate, where I personally think Terminator is just so permanently damaged after that. I think this is where Jeepers Creepers is, because now it's just seen as a mean franchise. Like, there's more bad movies than good. For being, well, I guess no. There's technically 4 movies. So I guess there's equal amount: 2 good movies and then 2 dog shit movies. And I feel like if they made one, it would be shit. So we would definitely get to a point where it would be more bad than good. So, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna try to fix it. I think you can. Like I said, there's a possibility. I think there's a way you can. And look, I love doing fixing, so why not? So I'll be doing that, and then, like I said, Rant on Miles on Sunday. But anyway, cheers one more time, and I'll talk to y'all later.